15,000 rollers on the front of this thing. You know, like the old saying goes, I told you a million times not to exaggerate. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Firmbie with you, and welcome back to my little corner of the interwebs. Great to have your company. Thank you so much for dropping by. As we continue on with the 15-minute makeover series here in Car Mechanic 2015, and what do we have here for you today? The Ecos Cobra. We've got some repairs. The magic number today is 90%, so it's worth remembering. We need to repair all the parts up to that 90% level before we get paid. Quite a lot of parts that we need to find, so we may or may not get to our 15-minute. Do it within our 15 minutes. Well, it remains to be seen, but we'll certainly have a fair crack at it. So see if we actually aren't able to send it to the test. No, we can't. Cannot start engine. Okay, so we won't get it to the test path because we can't start the engine. Okay, so we've got the engine oil and oil filter and gearbox. Okay, so I think the best thing is to get it up in the air and start looking at this gearbox. That'll be one of our issues. Okay, starter motor would be another one. That steering rack's another. We've got a fair bit going on at the front there. It's need to be attention. So let's start with the gearbox. Now we need to take that drive shaft out before we do anything in regards to that gearbox there. So drive shaft, oops, zoomy. A drive shaft coming out like so. Once those drive shafts out, we're actually able to get to the starter. And once the starter's out, we can get the gearbox out and those clutch components. Like so. So again, because it's such an extensive repair, again we need to be mindful that trying to get all this done within our 15 minutes that we allow ourselves. But it is a large repair, but also comes with some significant payouts at the end. So outer tie rods, outer and inner tie rods. By the looks of it here, that sway bar certainly going to need some love. Inner tie rod. Now we're going to need to take all these components off this other side here to get the inner and outer tie rods off on this other side, because we need that sway bar out as well, don't we? So there's your outer tie rod. The inner tie rod's going to be fine, I should imagine. It's not giving us a bottom right hand corner, 99%, but that steering rack is at 5%. Yep, he was certainly, let's call it sexual intercourse. So he's going to need replacing most certainly. Nothing we can see that's blatantly obviously before we put the oil girl back on the ground. Let's pop down this end and see whether there's anything that's really obvious down here. Nothing that jumps out at me. Let's pop this pump out, 90%. Let's pop that pump back in because he's going to be fine. I don't think there's anything that we can see on this side. No. Okay, so let's get the old girl back down on the ground. There's a lot of those components at the front of the motor, wasn't there, that we need to pull out. Wow. Okay, let's get, because that timing cover certainly needs to come out. I don't think we can. Oh yes, we can inspect that. So it's at 2%, and that button there is at 2%. So we need to take all this snot that's on the front here. Let's get rid of the radiator like that. And I know we're also going to need to get rid of the air filter. So let's pop the air filter out while we're standing here. Air filter. What does that give that? Didn't even see what that air filter value was. Air filter 28%. Yep. Fuel filter over here. What else we got? Fuel rails. 18%. There's one of our problem childs there. Where's our? There it is. Tensioner. And once that tension is gone, we should better get these belts off. Belt, and here comes the fun bit of getting all these rollers off. 15,000 rollers on the front of this thing. Well, that's not that many, but you know, like the old saying goes, I told you a million times not to exaggerate. Yeah, pretty well me. So we get all these rollers off the front there. Alternator, we can't. Okay, let's. I think that alternator looks okay. Alternator 91. Okay, alternator can go back on. Actually, the alternator needs to stay off. My memory serves me. And now, what about the hydraulic pump? What's this one over here? Power steering pump. Can we inspect that? No, we can't. Let's just pop this off quickly and see whether that's 99%. Okay, he can go back on. The more parts we leave on, the less we got to take off. Less we need to put back on a bit later on. Now all this snot at the top here needs to come off before we can get to this timing cover, doesn't it? Okay, so ignition coils, pop those out. Engine head cover. Now once that engine head cover is gone, we should be able to get to that timing belt cover. So we won't go any further. Although that spark plug there gonna need some love. I can see that very, very quickly. Now let's not forget the oil either. So and cover. Just having a quick look at those spark plugs there. Now if the engine, the timing belt cover is knackered, then it would not surprise me that the timing belts are gone as well. So once we get this cover off, can we inspect? Inspection mode, that one there. 92, 99, okay, they're going to be fine. Go out of that. What else? Oil, wasn't it? Okay, you get up there. Let's race over this other side. And actually, we'll do it properly this time. We'll get the oil drain and we'll see if we can place it. What do you reckon? About there? Maybe a bit further? There? And see whether we can get the oil to drop in the pan. If I can reach the plug. Oop, I had it just then, didn't I? There we go. Wow, look at that. Actually dropped in the pan. The first time ever. Okay, now we're finished with that oil drain. Let's put it back in its place. Just so we know where to find it next time. You go there. And let's see whether we can find out what we're missing. So we have found half of them. Oh, knocking noise. Builders we found, sloppy car, that. Okay, so look for knocking noise and engine control. Any ideas? I think we're just going to have to dive into the motor a bit more. Oh look, I'm wondering. Let's put it back in the air. I'm wondering whether those caps are going underneath the pistons. To be blatantly honest, now that we've let's have a quick look. Let's get that oil pan off. And I'm wondering whether, because if it's going to save us diving into the top of the motor, well, that's going to be a huge time saver there. Oh, look at that. There's one of them there. Bearing caps, and yeah, everything at the top's going to come off. I need to come off anyway because those pistons are. No, can't do that. Those pistons are knackered. That was just the one, maybe. Look, let's get those pistons out, and we'll be very, very close to finding all the parts once those two knackered pistons are out. So we need to dive in. Obviously, we need to take everything off this engine block to get to those pistons. The pistons actually come out off the top, which makes logical sense. But what it does mean is everything, camshafts, this engine manifold, everything needs. Yes, yeah, the exhaust manifold is the word I'm looking for. The exhaust manifold needs to come off because if that manifold's didn't come off, then we won't be able to get that engine head off. Now, to take the engine head off, we need to take the intake manifold off, but without the throttle off, that won't come off either. So throttle off, manifold off. Now we should be able to take the engine head off. And once the engine head is off, we should be able to take the pistons out that are exposed on this side. 1 potato, 2 potatoes. OG. Exactly the same on this side. Cam gears, cam shafts, manifold. And spark plugs. Boink, shaboink, and a shaboink. And the engine head as well. Now I think we had 2 on this side? Question mark? Or we had none at all. That was a complete waste of time, wasn't it? Done it. Okay, still haven't found 2 parts. So let's have a quick look at those 2 on there. Did it. So we've still got 2 remaining parts that are still we haven't found. General engine control and repair. 2 engine parts. Tree. There's one of them. Oil filter. We haven't taken the oil filter off, have we? There's probably a couple of you that's screaming at the screen right now. Why don't you take the oil filter off? Yeah, I forgot that bit. Where'd you go, oil filter? Hope you're not getting too dizzy. Oil filter. 11%. So let's have... Oh, still got 1 part remaining. Damn it. Okay. Let's have a quick look down here. 93. 1 more up. 1 more. 1, 2, and we've already taken 1 out, wasn't there? Can't examine that. Wonder if it's that crankshaft. I mean, we can't examine it, and I'd hate to put it all back together and find it's that crankshaft. So look, I'm going to make a call here and get all these out, take all the pistons out, and then remove that crankshaft just in case it's that. Because as I said, I've been caught before where I've put all the parts back on and it ended up being a damn crankshaft. So pistons, remove all those, and on that side, so now that should be enough to take that crankshaft out. Yeah, see how we go. As I said, I have been caught before where we were trying to find a part of, and I found all but 1 part, and then ended up being that. No, ended up 19%. There we go. That's what it was. So we actually found all those parts. So again, it's saving us putting everything back on, and then realizing we're 1 part short and having to take all the damn things off again. So just checking very quickly, we have in fact found those. So 90%, as I said, is our magic number. Over to our repair table and see whether we can repair those up to our 90%. Don't break. Oh no! Really didn't want that gearbox to break. 91% and everything above. So that's it. Inventory sort by condition. Let's go, jaboink. Idler roller. B, 2 of those, get rid of those out of the inventory. And that in fact should be all of them. 90%, 91% and above. So our magic number was 90%. Let's just confirm that. Magic number 90%. Excellent. Alrighty then. And let's get some of this stuff stowed away. How are we doing for time? Has anyone been watching the time? We hopefully haven't gone too close to our 15-minute time frame that we allow ourselves. But again, as I said, it was or is a fairly extensive repair, but the rewards are worth it in the end. Let's swing up and get these clutch components stowed away while we're here. The saves coming back and forth when it's easy just to swing up and pop those parts in. So release bearing and this gearbox, it's cost us 1,500 bucks that I didn't really want to spend, but I should have actually pulled the trigger on it when it was 90%, because that's all we're after. It needs to be 90% or above, and it was 90%. I wanted to go one more, and yeah, I paid the price. So drive shaft. Once that gearbox is on and the drive shaft can go back in, and there wasn't anything down this rear end, was there, that we need to look at, so we can skim straight past that. Starter was on, as I said. And that's one thing I do forget quite regularly, is the ye old starter. So I was speaking of which, we must remember to put some oil in it too. Oil filter. Steering rack can go on, in and out of tie rods can go on very quickly, like so. Rhubarb, we'll get that when we get there. Now, did we put the oil pan back on? Zip, go forward. No, we did not. Oh, we can't because the pistons aren't in. That would do it. Okay, let's get to those in a moment. We're looking at inner and outer tie rods, aren't we? Outer tie rod go on there. That wheel should, in fact, go back on now that those inner and outer tie rods are on, and it does. So we need to drop it down so we can get those pistons in, and in fact put it back up again. Once those pistons in, well, actually we might as well get all these components on while we're in the engine bay here. Battery, fuel filter. Alternator we didn't need to do anything to. Air filter cover, clips. What was I saying? Oh, we might as well get all those components stowed away while we're actually in the engine bay, and then we'll come back to that oil filter, just so we're not thing it up and down, up and down. So again, I mentioned this on previous builds. You can put performance parts in if you wanted, the performance pistons if you wanted to. You're not going to get any more money on the repairs on the if you're looking for performance parts, or if you're looking for a performance car, you know, to increase your speed down the racetrack, then certainly go with the performance parts. But in this particular one, there it's only a repair, so not any advantage that I can see is by putting performance parts in someone's repair. So look, you can if you want. If that blows your hair back, well, you go right ahead. But yeah, not a big advantage. So how are we doing for time? We're getting close to time, are we? Hopefully someone's keeping track of it for me. What we got here? Cam gears on the ends there, and we need to do exactly the same thing on the other side, don't we? Timing belt, go in. Thank you very much. Thank you for playing. Engine head. So basically, we're just putting everything back in the reverse order that we took it all out in. So the engine head, the camshafts, spark plugs, like so. Manifold. Once the manifold's in, the throttle can go in. There's nothing wrong with that throttle, but as I said, we need to have taken him out to get all the other bits and bobs out. Exhaust manifold. Again, we had to take him out to get all the snot off the top to get those pistons out. So we had to do that, and of course we had to take those pistons out to get to that camshaft, cam rod, that bit at the bottom anyway. Now fuel rails. Was anything wrong with it? No, there wasn't. I thought there was. Nope. Timing cover. He was absolutely knackered. Brand new one of those, nice and squeaky clean, brand new. And we've got 1,000 of these rollers to put on the front. Now we purposely took the radiator out the front there, just gives them more of an idea, so we can see a bit better, to be honest. Otherwise it just dim things just get in the way, and you wouldn't be able to zoom in and out like we are doing now. Obviously, with that out of the way, it just makes it easy to get all these bits and bobs at the front on and off. So, for the sake of the 5 seconds it took to take off, it does save you a lot of time to get the right angle to get these parts. Well, take them off and then of course put them back on. So that looks like everything at the front. The radiator and fan can go back in. These engine head covers can now go back in. Always like these engine head covers. It's just a nice contrast between the sort of the silvers and the greys of the engine and the bright red of the engine head cover themselves. So engine head, ignition cord rather, and the cover plate. Same on this side. Just while these are going in, just remember that if there's anything in particular you'd like me to build in Car Mechanic 15 or in fact 18, I must get back into 18 as well. I played it a little bit yesterday and look, sort of getting back into it. Engine pan, wasn't it? What was I saying? Yes, getting back into it. So some of these games I haven't, you know, you tend to put down and pick up every now and again. I mean, hell, I went over to PlanetSide for an hour last night just for giggles. I probably haven't played PlanetSide for 12 months, believe it or not. And yes, that was certainly interesting. A lot of buttons and switches that I forgot that you need to remember. So oil. This spreader here. So yeah, a lot of buttons and switches that I forgot that existed. So those who were playing with me in the squad last night, my sincerest apologies when you know, I was trying to deploy a Sunder and I couldn't even remember which button did that. So, but look, it was a learning exercise. Green lights across the board, back to what we're doing here. Right across those, I won't list them all up, but you can see, as I was saying, green lights across the board. All the parts exceeding our 90%. There's what we spent. We've got a couple of grand for completing the task and a couple of grand for completing the job, which gives us a total earned of $8,186. Fantastic. Oh, hang on, what are we missing? Power is incomplete. Cannot perform this action. Foil covers. Really? That would do it. What about now? I thought we went through all these. I must have missed one. Obviously I did. Let's try again. Lovely. That's one completed, and that's another 8 grand in our kitty. Thank you very much for your company. Certainly do appreciate it. And I'll look forward to it in the next one.